What up, though? Welcome back. Welcome to Ask a Bad Boy. So today we got a good one. O'Shea Duke Jackson. I'm doing a reaction video to his video, and the title is "Will Smith's Confession is Worse Than We Thought." Worse than we thought. All right. So as usual, I'm gonna let you know what I think. I want you to leave the comments down below. Let me know what you think. With no further ado, let's go right in.
If you're born in America, you're lucky and cursed at the same time, especially if you're a man. America is the home of competition, being number one, being the best. And being broke is not acceptable. Being in second place is not acceptable. You play sports when you're young and you're always taught to win. Getting trophies is everything, and losing is anything but nice.
He's right, you know.
But with motivational speeches, hard work, and dedication, you find yourself out of your situation, especially if you come from the inner city. You find a way to make it in academia, blue-collar trades, or business, and there you are. You've made it. You're now the man. You can buy anything that you want. The ladies is on you. Your mom is happy. She's gonna always tell you, you was always my favorite kid. But then something just don't feel right, because you find out that things are more difficult for you when they should be more simple. And this is the plight of the successful man, but really the successful black man. And this is the situation that Will Smith has faced in his life. He did everything that you did, worked hard, made it, became successful, only for his ex-best friend Bilal to say he was gay, try to sue him for everything he got. And then after making $300 million, he found out something interesting.
There's an amount of money that once you pass it, it buys misery. Once you have a certain amount of money, you can change people's lives. So it's really all people can think about. So it's difficult to make new friendships at certain financial points, right? In America, somewhere around $1 million a year, it starts going the other way, where it's more problems beyond that. And you start getting into really an attack zone.
Did you guys hear that?
So I'm gonna let him cook, but I need to chime in like right away. Because right now, in the state that we're in financially, this comment is crazy to me. I made a lot of money in my day. Never, of course, never at Will Smith's level. I want to be there one day. And this is something I've been fighting with, struggling with, working hard. And I have a different opinion. Sometimes they say if you haven't been there, you don't know. But I do have family members who have had millions. I've been through some millions, allegedly, but never the kind of money that Will Smith has had. And I don't know if I 100% agree, especially with how bad it is right now. And I strive to make as much money as possible. But when you can't pay your bills, man, I don't know what he's talking about. If I'm going to cry, I'd rather cry in a Rolls Royce. But, let's let him continue. And then I'll tell you what I think. And I want to know what you think.
I know so many of you guys want to chase the bag and get money. And don't get me wrong, we all got to chase the bag. We all got to get money. But is getting money a diminishing return at a point? It's not because of your success. It's because how everybody else reacts to your success. And that largely is a problem. And one of the things that he said that was important, it's hard for him to make relationships with people, not because he's not a good person. It's because of what the other person may believe that they want from him. And he isn't the only person to say the same thing.
Bad part number one is everyone wants a job. I have friends from high school asking for a job. I have family members asking for a job. I have complete strangers asking for me to give them a job.
Now, many of you guys understand this, even if you have a good job. If you have a business or if you're doing well in the business, Here comes somebody else that didn't put in the work that you did, and the first thing they asking you is, put a jigger on, brother. And then,
Although I've given a whole lot of opportunities to people, I still have people asking for stuff.
even if you put them on, they still want more. And here's something that's important for a lot of men to understand. No matter how much money you make or how many opportunities you create for others, it will simply just never be enough. People who are losers or who are lazy and who don't have any work ethic, they always need everything because they are losers and you're successful. In their mind, if you're not helping them, then it's your problem. And some of you guys can understand this with the women that you date, and are dating women that are poor or the lower middle class is a whole nother episode.
He said dating women that are poor.
I'll get into later. But you'll also find this with the ladies you deal with. For whatever you deal with them, even though the dudes they've been dealing with before can't do nothing but, they always get a little bit of an attitude if you can't give them something after they just asked your ass for some money just 3 hours ago when you gave it to them.
That's because of the hypergamy. They're gonna always want more. But sometimes I see them do worse than they were doing before because the grass ain't greener. But they don't seem to think so. It seems like they always happy, but not happy at the same time.
Damn.
Press 1 in the comments if this has ever happened to you, and subscribe and hit the bell if you like this video.
Huh?
And then, what do you do when you really start getting money? Is it really as exciting as you think?
When I was younger, I was poor. I grew up, without a lot of money. And I was always wanting to get stuff because I never had things. But once I got rich and once I started making a lot of money, things started being less interesting. Things just kind of lose its appeal because it's no longer exciting. There's no dopamine hit when I go to a Louis V store or I go to a Rolex.
This game, you're not ready for it.
Store. There's no dopamine hit.
I hear you. This sounds like, you know what they say, you know what this is? It's the world's smallest violin playing for you. I hear this, and like I said, I'm gonna go in some more once he's done. But people who don't have it don't want to hear this, man. We don't. It's like you preaching to the choir. When you got that kind of money, and now you're saying, "Oh, once you got it, it's the dopamine hit not there no more." Maybe that's why a lot of people in Hollywood per se is so weird. Maybe that's what it is. But me personally, man, y'all just not making enough a list long enough for things to do, because I could find a whole lot of things to do with that money and get a dopamine hit every time. I could be like my man in the what he got when he edited, I could just lay on the floor with the money. The Bible say the love of money is the root of all evil, not money itself. So you give me that cash, I'm laying in it. My dopamine hit is just having it. I ain't even got to buy nothing if you want to know the truth.
Because it's like, yeah, I could buy this today. I could buy it today. And what's the point?
Now, me and Dima started really working together around 2017. I was doing okay on YouTube, but I can remember like our third or fourth year, I got to a point where, it wasn't anything that I couldn't buy at that point. And I thought I wanted to buy these things. I thought I wanted to have these things. And I just realized that, damn, I don't really have any use for this. It wasn't until 2021 that I took my first business class flight. I was still being cheap and flying economy. I mean, not that it matters anybody, but I just, did it for myself to see how it would feel.
Let me chime in real quick. That part right there, I don't know what he's talking about because I experienced one time. So I was on my way to Vegas really quick, and I decided to fly Frontier. Frontier, no. Never again. I sat in the front row. This is my first time flying Frontier. I thought it was kind of like Spirit or Southwest Airlines, where I called myself getting the front seat, so I would have more leg room, kind of like I'm in first class or whatever the case may be. I get there on the way to Vegas from Detroit is a pretty long flight. So on this flight, I falls asleep and we hit some turbulence. When we hit the turbulence, I done fell forward. The seat does not recline. I'm sitting up. My feet are stuck right here between this little wall. And when I woke up, I was so sick. It felt like I was about to faint. And I said, never again. On the way back, I flew first class. And I said that from now on, if I can afford to fly first class, I'm fine flying first class. So I hear what you're saying, but the first class experience is way better than the coach experience. Well, maybe I just like nice things more than some of these people, but they got this money and saying they complaining about it is bonkers to me. Crazy work.
And ultimately, what I realized was that, oh, this is interesting. It's nice, but it's nothing to go home about. And then I realized that money was just something, but it wasn't me. It shouldn't dictate how I treat somebody or how I feel about the world. It was just something that I could use to buy something, if you get my drift. And then after I was able to buy certain things that I wanted, I just really didn't care for it anymore. And I'm pretty sure that many of you guys are the same way. You buy it. I mean, you don't really have a lot of use for things. Some of you brothers may or may not, but ultimately you are the same person you used to be when like literally you were broke and didn't have anything. And then
reality, making money, you just buy nicer shit. Whoop-de-doo. Temporary happiness. Everyone knows that.
Now DDG is way more successful than me, and he's like, look,
he's sitting in a Ferrari saying this.
Money and everything, everybody knows that. Nah, DDG, everybody don't know that because everybody ain't had money like you. But watch what he says next.
You probably stood in line for some J's. You probably stood in line for some forces, whatever the you stood in line for in order for you to obtain this gift that you wanted, or you want the new Jordans, whatever, boom. And once you put them in the zone, you think about them a year later, a week later. That's how everything is. Whether you buying a mansion, a super car, a jet, a boat, a yacht, whatever you buying, that's gonna satisfy you for a short amount of time.
The most important thing that he said there was like, imagine a new pair of shoes that you bought. You're very excited to have these new pair of shoes, but then like after 3 or 4 months, you really don't care about it because you've already had it. And it's not really that important anymore. It's already happened. The problem is that like a lot of guys who become successful, you are used to having things. The problem is interacting with people who are not used to having things. And I don't mean to really be mean and say this about friends, family, or women, but that's kind of the trade-off that I understand that many of us deal with. If you are a guy and you're doing very well, you know, obviously you can leverage some of that for a lady who is very beautiful. And what I have learned with my old ass is that I never really even tell anybody like what I do or what I have. And even if they play me like they're not interested, I mean, it's just cool or whatever, right? But the reality is that once people understand what you have as a man, especially as a black man, because you're really valued, folks are really fake, including the men in your life. I'm not been talking about women, but some of the most dangerous dudes are the dudes who want to be like close to you, be all kind of buddy with you, but ultimately planning your downfall because they don't know how it is to have money and they're dying for any feeling of that, to have money coming in because they feel that money makes them. You already know that money doesn't make you, but they don't know that. And being close to them could be your demise. For an example, we've already seen so many rappers who have been killed by haters because they were broke and couldn't get money. June 2018, we saw XXXTentacion, who was literally killed in Deerfield Beach, Florida, because dudes wanted $50,000 in cash because they thought that money would change their life. And it did. It got them life in prison. Then September 2022, PNB Rock is in Los Angeles at Roscoe's House Chicken and Waffles. Somebody wanted his chain. He didn't want to give it up. And we already know what happened with him. Then there was Pop Smoke, who was killed February 19, 2020 at a rented property in Hollywood Hills. The young man was only 20 years old. What are you getting at, O'Shea? Money is great, but ultimately it's not everything. And you need to understand that. It literally is not everything. There are certain people who are going to come into your life because you have money and they don't care nothing about you. It's really a negative thing to a certain degree, if you get my drift. And the more little nice stuff you buy, the nice cars, the houses, the trips you promote online, all the stuff that you got, you literally bring the wrong people into your life. And a lot of people don't look at the fact that you worked hard, that you were talented, that you did what you did because, hey, you really love what you do. What they ask is, why not me? And a person that asks, why not me, when you are the one that built your life, is dangerous. So if you're going to get the bag, by all means, go and get it. But just know that once your status becomes undeniable, it's going to be hard to make friends. It's going to be hard to meet the right woman. It's going to be hard to do any of that. And what you thought is your leverage can instantly become your weakness.
Okay, so there you have it. My thoughts on this is a lot of things he said was true. And I understand where Will Smith is coming from. I understand DDG. I understand the young lady that he mentioned, the YouTuber. I understand what you're saying about money is not everything. It's true, it's not everything. But in the words of Floyd Mayweather, that was once said by a broke person. All I'm going to say is this. You're going to have problems anyway. You can't escape that. It's part of life. But I'd rather have problems with money than have them without money. Now, it's all about how you move. It's all about your lust levels. I guess like the young lady mentioned, your dopamine hits. It's so many different things. It's levels to everything. Me personally, I'd rather have the money. If I'm going to have problems anyway, you might as well have them with money, because money can't buy happiness, but it's a damn good down payment. And I'm just going to say this here. This is something I might have needed to hear because I've been struggling with this. My ambition to want to be rich, wealthy is at a crazy level. I work hard trying to get there. And sometimes you do need a tap on your shoulder to say, hey, money ain't everything. I get that. We know it's God first. We know the health. But after those, man, that money is there, So all of my people, in my inner circle, let's get this money. Forget what they talk about. We'll deal with the problems on the other end. And also, you could be a lame. If you lame, you just lame. You could just be a lame with money. So it don't matter. Money, it can enhance things. It can change your confidence, things of that nature. But at the sole core of everything, you are who you are. And I think that's what the message basically is. And I agree with that. But two things can be right at once. For me, I'm trying to get it. You can't eat without no money. If you don't believe me, go a couple days and don't spend no money at all. Try to spend $1. Watch what happened to you. At one time in my life, my ambition was crazy. It still is. But at one time in my life, I was focusing on everything being money. And that's when I was the most successful. Somebody along the line, somebody lied to me and told me, gave me this information here. Maybe I took it wrong. But I started to not aggressively go after money. And that's when I started to have more problems than ever. So focus on that money. I don't know what they talking about. And like I always say, if you want to know, ask a bad boy. Less.